Okay, I get in these discussions with family members who want to argue when I say or make a video that people are systematically dumbed down. And when I say that, it begins in kindergarten and high school. We are systematically dumbed down. We are programmed to believe on an instantaneous manner everything we are told because we are taught these people are far smarter than we are. And I will show you multiple ways in which they mock us. Okay, now what I mean by being systematically dumbed down is because you instantaneously believe everything these people say, which they are mocking us. Now, here we have scientists want to move the sun and our solar system, which would include all the planets or lights in the sky they call planets, the sun, all the planets in the earth to another location in space. And they say the stellar engine could be used to shift trillions of miles if it were threatened by deadly asteroid shower or space explosion. Outer space, in their definition, is an infinite and expanding vacuum universe. Now, this is ridiculous. I say that because what can be demonstrated totally contradicts what they say. We can make vacuums on Earth in vacuum chambers and other ways, and it takes a container to make a vacuum. There are no vacuums on the Earth that naturally exist, and that is a fact. They have to be made. The statement, nature abhors a vacuum, is demonstrable reality. They have to be made, they don't exist on their own. And once made by human beings, once they are contained, they cannot expand. So you believe that 70, 80 miles above your head, there is an infinite and expanding vacuum universe. That's expanding because of some big bang. And then on the other hand, they'll tell you the universe is loaded with gravity. That's how all the planets revolve or rotate around the sun. So if everything's being pulled together, how would it expand? It's all ridiculous. When you really look at what you think you believe in, 90% of the people I approach and ask them questions about the heliocentric model don't even know in depth what they're supposed to believe. And it's astounding. Okay, so this here is mocking people. Scientists want to move the sun and the planets to another location in space to avoid killer asteroids. Now, I promise you that although I know outer space is a fictitious area, I still enjoy the CGI animation of movies like Halo, Warcraft, The Avengers, and Star Wars. Even though I know it's fake, they show spaceships with fiery thrust coming out of their fuselage, and I know for a fact no thrust can be had in a vacuum because there's no air to push off. That would be like a bird trying to fly with no air. Okay, now this idea here, they steal these ideas to mock us from Hollywood. There's a movie called The Wandering Earth. It was made by either some Chinese or Japanese. A very interesting movie I watched where, according to the premise of the movie, the sun was dying out and they had to find a new star. So they made stellar engines and they turned the Earth into a giant spaceship with a steering wheel and flew the Earth trillions of miles to a new star to orbit that star. And it was a good, exciting movie. I liked it. It was called The Wandering Earth. And I seen that movie about 3 years ago. And when I seen this article, I was like, oh my God, these scumbags. They're copying science fiction. That's where they come up with their ideas, and they come with this garbage. Now, I'm not even going to click one of these because it's just so ridiculous. But this is one example of how people are so dumbed down and trained to instantaneously believe everything they're told or what they hear, that they can now post this garbage with no worry of being laughed out of town. Could you imagine? There are people who will defend this and say they'll invent stellar engines and they're going to fly the sun, the moon, all the planets in the earth to another location in outer space, and they're going to defy the Big Bang inflation of the universe and fly where they want. Well, we're taught that somewhere by Saturn or Jupiter there's a massive asteroid belt. So we're going to leave that behind. Do you even know what they say the Earth and all the planets are doing around the sun? It is ridiculous. Okay, forgive me for the pause. But here's what you're supposed to believe. This is how dumbed down you are. You can go outside and close your eyes, and you tell me what your God-given senses tell you. Okay, this is what they say, this is what they teach, and I'm going to send this video to a certain individual in my family, and they don't know this. If you ask them a question, there's crickets unless they got their phone and they can run to Google. They have no answer on their own on an independent basis. They got to go to Google and they'll regurgitate whatever it says and believe that's reality. But here's what they say we are doing right now. Let me just say real quick. They teach us that the Earth, a giant spinning spherical water world ball, is spinning faster than a bullet at the equator. And the equator is an imaginary line in between the north and southern hemispheres of the Earth. It's the halfway mark. And they say that it's spinning faster than a mediocre bullet, i.e. 1,038 miles an hour, while simultaneously the Earth is orbiting the sun, going around the sun at 66,600 miles an hour, mean velocity, which I usually round off to 70,000 miles an hour. So the Earth is spinning on its axis faster than a bullet at the equator, and 70,000 miles an hour going around the sun, which they say it takes it a full year to do one revolution. And while the sun is spinning on its axis, going around the sun at 70,000 miles an hour, the sun is moving too at 500,000 miles an hour. That's 500,000 miles an hour. So all the planets are chasing after a sun moving 500,000 miles every hour. And even to add insult to injury, they say that the Milky Way galaxy is traveling millions of miles an hour through an infinite and expanding vacuum universe. So this is what you gotta believe, dumbed down individual. Forgive me. This is what they say the Earth, the planets, are doing around the sun, and that the sun is hauling ass through the galactic center of the Milky Way galaxy, while the Milky Way galaxy hauls ass through the universe. Okay, do you see this? These scumbags want you to believe this, and you can Google it. Go type in heliocentric model animation on Google or YouTube, and this is what you'll see. Wikipedia will tell you the same thing. Now, of course, this is sped up. You know, it takes the Earth a full year to go around the sun one time. But if you've seen this all happening in real time, the Earth's spinning 1,000+ miles an hour on its axis and going around the sun 66,000 miles an hour, while the sun travels 500,000 miles an hour itself, it would be even worse than this. Okay, far worse. So this is what I mean, person in my family, when I say that you are dumbed down in high school since kindergarten. So they retort, well, doctors and mechanics and builders and engineers aren't dumbed down. And I say, well, who said they were? I never said that. They don't learn to be a doctor or engineer or mechanic in high school. Those are specialized careers that you go to an institute of higher learning for to learn that solely in of itself. Why would you even bring that up? Because she is dumbed down. I didn't say doctors were dumbed down or mechanics or engineers. I said people in high school are dumbed down. As soon as you go in the room in kindergarten, you are greeted by a big ball globe on the teacher's desk. Okay? And the apple that you leave for the teacher, that's a symbol of lies. Because that's the symbol that started all the lies in the Garden of Eden. And that's what Newton used to say an apple fell, and that's how he discovered gravity. And that's why you leave it on your teacher's desk, because it's a symbol of lies and deceit. Okay, we live in a world of symbols, and most of them are evil. Like, I don't like when someone gives me the thumbs up or the okay sign, because I know what those signs really mean. I know where they originate or derive from. And it's not cool. People are very dumbed down. That's why shows like the Kardashians are number one, because we are taught to be selfish and to want to buy things and be vain. And I have that problem. I like things of the world, and I spend a lot of money. But at least I know that I need to stop that because it's wrong. We are taught that man and the earth are insignificant within an infinite universe that has millions of Earth-like planets. But they can only show you these planets in animation, CGI, computer-generated images, thousands of satellites around the Earth. But I promise you, if you go in your basement and get your 200 Nova and National Geographic documentaries on outer space, they will not be 99.9. They will be 100% CGI animation. Now, to point out multiple things of how they mock us and how dumbed down people really are, that there's multiple sites on Google where you can go and NASA admits moon landing tapes got erased. NASA admits by Reuters. And they're the biggest scumbags there are in the media. Moon landing tapes got erased. There's multiple statements on this, and they can get away with it because people are so dumbed down. Now, if we really had technology to go to the moon, it would constitute national security to protect these tapes, to make sure no other nation ever got this technology. Do you know what they could do to us with technology like that, to go to outer space and orbit the Earth, and Saturn V rocket technology and all the propaganda with this nonsense? Stay tuned. There's more to this. Now here we have another story. NASA sold moon landing footage to an intern for $218. And whoever finds them will be a millionaire. Now you can Google all this stuff. They erased it. Then the most prized achievement of man, going to the moon, the technology, the telemetry data, original audio and video, sold to an intern for $218. And these stories, which I've already researched, go on to say whoever finds this stuff is going to be a millionaire if they sell it or whatever. And this is how dumbed down society has become, that they can give multiple statements that all contradict each other. And it's ridiculous. Don't you people understand that if we went to the moon, that would be mankind's greatest ever achievement on the earth, and the technology that allowed us to do this would constitute matter of national security. Okay? And you think they're storing gold at Fort Knox? No, this technology would be secured. Okay? They wouldn't be erasing it selling it, and it has no bounds of stupidity. Now, in conclusion, to show just how dumbed down people are, this is NASA scumbag fake astronaut Don Pettit. And take a listen to what he says. Let me make sure I got it up.
Go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again. But going to Mars.
Okay, now anybody can Google this or search it out, and you can hear this idiot say that. And the people in his audience nod their head and go up and ask for his autograph. And that's just what I mean by that we are systematically dumbed down, where they can say whatever they want, and we will not only accept it, but we'll defend it. And instantaneously believe it and have no idea what it all means, and the depths of stupidity of what people are believing. It's just astounding. Okay, and this is what I mean, person in my family. You are systematically dumbed down to where these people can say whatever they want, and you'll believe it. Could you believe this idiot? We went to the moon 6 times from 1969 to 1973, and then from 73 to 2021, which is 50 years. This is what they're saying. We wouldn't even need to rely on 50-year-old technology. The computer processor is 1 trillion times more advanced. They would need nothing from 50 years ago. If it were possible to go to the moon, we wouldn't need anything from 1969. These people are liars. They're, in my opinion, on their way to hell. They're not atheists. That's another thing. They trick people into believing they're atheists, but they're not. Everything they do pays homage to Apollo, Orion, Artemis, Saturn, Jupiter, Mars. They worship the false pagan gods and mock us. And they don't mock me anymore because I'm awake and I know we do not live on a giant ball. And we are systematically dumbed down. And it's not your fault. But what is your fault is when you hear knowledge and information and you disregard it, then it is your fault.